star of this season will be. Let me know your breakout star for this season. Make sure to help us on our road to 3,000 subscribers and subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into it. Arsenal, Ethan Noweri. With Arsenal set for another season battling for the Premier League title, there may once again be little opportunities afforded to the club's yet to be established players. Across all competitions last season, Mikel Arteta only gave game time to two players younger than Bukayo Saka, and those two players, Ethan Noweri and Charles Saka Jr., were handed just one appearance each. Noweri is the academy product Arsenal fans are most excited about though, and they have been for a very long time. Back in September 2022, a 15-year-old Noweri became the youngest player in Premier League history, but he has only been given 13 more minutes of first team game time since then, in the 6-0 thumping of West Ham in February this year. The list of the youngest Premier League players of all time provides a fair few cautionary tales for Arteta to consider when managing his development. But after ranking third in the Premier League 2 last season for goals scored, the now 17-year-old will hope for more first-team opportunities this season and is looking very, very sharp in pre-season, getting a lot of minutes, which may suggest he is going to emerge this season as a useful player for Arsenal. Aston Villa, Costa Nedeljkovic. The problem for Villa's youngsters is that after a busy summer window the first team is looking so well stocked right across the pitch that there could be no opportunities for anyone to prove themselves. There is a chance, however, that Unai Emery thinks there could be room for improvement at right back, where Matty Cash and Ezri Konsa shared duties last season, and 18-year-old Costa Nedeljkovic is an exciting prospect in that position. Signed from Red Star Belgrade last January and then loaned straight back to them, Nedeljkovic is an attack-minded, athletic and physically imposing fullback. Despite still being almost 18 months off his 20s, Nedeljkovic has Champions League experience, having made 4 appearances in the group stage last year, including playing 78 minutes in a 3-2 defeat to Manchester City, where he came up against Jack Grealish and Phil Foden and was dribbled past just one time. He stands out more for his attacking numbers, with his rate of 4.5 shots, dribbles and chances created, the 4th highest of all defenders in the Champions League last season. He seems like he will become the future right back for Villa at some point, but it's just whether that comes this season or later. I do think he is ready though this year. Bournemouth, Dean Hudson. Where can Hudson go? There are no limits because he has a level of knowledge, reading and playing of the game that is difficult to teach to a player. He looks like a 30-year-old. Those were the comments of Roma manager Daniele De Rossi, who was in charge of Hudson last season at Roma. And I think that perfectly describes just who Bournemouth have signed. Hudson was long earmarked as a future centre-back for Juventus, and the 18-year-old showed that he is ready for regular top-level action after his performances for Roma last season. He is very, very comfortable on the ball with a great ability to carry the ball into midfield and launch attacks. Juventus have let him go though in order to fund other activities, and Bournemouth have picked him up. Liverpool were keen on him too, but at age 19, Hudson may show at Bournemouth this season just why he was so highly rated at Juventus and become one of the best young centre-backs in the Premier League. Brentford, Yarmouk. success stories over the past few years, and 20-year-old Yarmulke looks like he could be the next. Signed in 2022 from Dnipro, where he had become the second youngest ever player to start a game in the Ukrainian Premier League. Yarmulke spent a year in the B team before working his way into the senior squad last season. He ended up making 6 starts in Premier League games, but they only really came about due to injuries, and far more of his action came from the bench. This season though, with Thomas Frank surely considering freshening up his midfield, his first choice midfield 3 could change, and Yarmulke will be hoping to emerge. He is a versatile option in midfield, able to play a number of different positions and is capable both in and out of possession. He won possession 6.7 times per 90 last season, while averaging 2 dribbles per 90. That shows he is very, very talented, and expect to see more of him in 24-25. Brighton, Valentin Bargo. Given he is only 31 years old himself, it seems natural to assume that new Brighton manager Fabian Hurstler will be open to giving young players time on the pitch. There's never any shortage of exciting and talented players you've never heard of at the Amex, so it would be no surprise to see Valentin Bargo given more first-team opportunities. Bargo, aged 20, joined from Boca Juniors in January and made 3 Premier League starts and his international debut for Argentina in the second half of the season. His game time at Boca was split between left back, left wing back and left midfield, but almost all his appearances for Brighton have come at fullback, and he may fancy his chances of ousting Estupiñán in the team next season. He is very comfortable on the ball, likes to get forward and has a wicked delivery. His 308 minutes of Premier League action for Brighton came against very tough opposition in Liverpool, Manchester City, Man United, Chelsea, Villa and Bournemouth. So he is clearly trusted to be able to handle the pressure of big games, and he actually averaged 1 chance created in those games, which is pretty impressive for such a young kid. Now he's had 6 months to acclimatise to England and the Premier League. He could be all set to take the league by storm this season and be yet another Brighton success story. Chelsea, Josh Ajembong. In a bloated squad full of very, very, very expensive players, it's going to remain difficult for Chelsea's youngsters to break into the first team without a similar injury crisis to what happened last season. That crisis did, however, open a few doors to the senior squad, and Josh Ajembong was one of the few players who got a chance in the first team, and it appears he might be about to get more. Included in the squad for Chelsea's pre-season tour, Ajembong is seen as a player who could be moulded for Maresca's football. Able to play at right back, right wing back or right-sided centre-back, Ajembong is an adept defender in one-on-one situations, but also very comfortable on the ball. There's a big queue at Chelsea, so he's going to have to wait in line, and there may not be too many opportunities for any youngsters, but he is highly thought of at the club and may well have a future there. With Reece James made of paper, it's more than likely at some point Ajembong will get a chance to play at right back this season for Chelsea. Crystal Palace, Jesurun Rak-Saki. With Michael Elise having left for Bayern Munich, there's a space to be filled on the Palace wing. Although Ismaila Sarr has been signed, there is a chance that one of the club's most exciting young talents will be given game time alongside Sarr to fill that Elise hole. Rak-Saki made 6 substitute appearances at the start of last season under Roy Hodgson, following a successful loan at Charlton, where he scored 15 goals and provided 8 assists in League One. He and his club would have hoped to have kicked on last season, but a lack of game time led to reports reports that he might look for first team opportunities away from Selhurst Park. Because he was so often training with the first team, he didn't get much game time in Premier League 2 last season, but when he did, he was lethal, registering 5 goal involvements in just 229 minutes, an average of 2 goal involvements per game. He has clearly outgrown that level, and it's understandable that he will want a chance in the top flight this season. Whether that's at Palace or not remains to be seen, but if he does stay at Palace, he might be a breakout star this season. Everton, Tim Bonham. It's been 2.5 years since Tim Bonham made his Premier League debut for Villa, but after spending 22-23 on loan at QPR, playing a full season of Championship football, it took a while for him to get back into the Villa team. He eventually played a decent amount in the Conference League last season and in the Premier League in the second half of the season, but with Champions League football on the agenda, Emery could not guarantee the midfielder game time. So this summer Bonham made a £9 million move to Everton, where he'll hope to play more football in the middle of the park. A ball-playing midfielder who prefers to play it short and simple, he acts as a metronome at the base of midfield. With more games to come at Goodison Park, he has many other attributes to make it at the top level in the modern game, and could show people he's the perfect Amadou Onana replacement. Fulham, Jay Stansfield. It has been a steady climb for Jay Stansfield. The striker scored 6 goals in 11 games for Fulham in the under-18 Premier League, then 6 in 14 for the under-21s the following season. After some cameos for the first team, he went on loan to Exeter, where his late father Adam was much loved as a player, and he scored 9 goals in League One before moving to Birmingham on another loan deal last season. Despite Birmingham being relegated, Stansfield shone as he claimed 12 goals, and supposedly the club are interested in making his move permanent. But Fulham boss Marco Silva might consider giving the 21-year-old a chance at Fulham this season. The London club do have quite a few options at striker, with Rodrigo Muniz, Raul Jimenez and Carlos Vinicius, though none of them reached double figures for goals in the Premier League last season. Stansfield, if he stays, may therefore be given a chance to prove himself, and who knows, might be able to take it. Ipswich Town, Liam Delap. He must be sick of people asking about his dad's throw-ins. Now Liam Delap has the chance to show the Premier League what he can do. Delap, the son of former Stoke City throwmaster Rory Delap, arrived at Ipswich in a reported £20 million deal this summer from Manchester City, though he rarely featured for Pep's team. He has instead honed his craft in the Championship, in loan spells with Stoke, Preston and Hull City. The 21-year-old did show signs of promise at City, though scoring 24 goals in 20 games in Premier League 2, before adding 8 in 10 the following year. He was unable to match that output in the Championship, though, scoring just 3 times for Stoke and once for Preston. However, his 8 goals for Hull impressed Ipswich enough to put money on the table for him. Under Kieran McKenna, who rarely seems to fail in improving players, Delap could reach that next level and become a great Premier League level striker. Leicester City, Abdul Fatawu. Leicester fans might be wondering why I've gone with a player already established in their first team. Well, Fatawu is yet to prove himself at the top level, having only turned 20 years old in March. The Ghana international was linked with a move to Liverpool before joining Sporting in 2022, though he only made 10 appearances for the first team with just 1 start. Fatawu was on loan at the King Power last season and looked sharp in the Championship, scoring 6 goals and assisting 13 in his 40 appearances. He created 32 big chances, at least 10 more than any other player in England's second tier. Fatawu has now also take the Premier League by storm next season. If he can, well, then some high-level Premier League clubs might be interested in Vitoru as he is a top talent. Liverpool, Stefan Bajcetic. Some would say the heartbeat of Liverpool's success in recent years was to be found in the midfield. Klopp's favoured gegenpressing style and use of attacking fullbacks meant his midfielders were the key opponents when it came to regaining possession. A pile-up of injuries halfway through the 22-23 season meant Klopp was given no other choice than to thrust 17-year-old Bajcetic into the base of his midfield though. What followed was a potential glimpse in the future as the Spaniard showcased his classy composure on the ball and strong appetite for a slide tackle. Bajcetic burst onto the scene, scoring his first senior goal at Villa Park on Boxing Day in 2022. He began getting starts after that, and his inclusion in the lineup coincided with Liverpool regaining some momentum in that season. His run in the team came to a halt through injury shortly after though, and last season Bajcetic only featured in 3 games after being dogged by injuries. He's back now and participating fully in pre-season and will be eager to make up for lost time. Still only 19, his development will be keenly anticipated for the coming season if he can put his injury issues behind him. With Liverpool reportedly looking for a new defensive midfielder, Bajcetic will be aiming to put his case forward, and if they do not sign a new DM, then Bajcetic may well emerge as their starting CDM this season. Manchester City, James McAtee. Like Delap, McAtee is another who learned his trade at Manchester City but had to go out on loan for first team experience. His 18 goals in 23 games in Premier League 2 grabbed Sheffield United's attention, and he has spent the last 2 seasons there. He scored 9 times in 37 championship games for Sheffield United, while only Ilman Ndiaye and Sander Berge created more than his 33 chances. Much like the entire Sheffield United team, McAtee was less productive in the Premier League last season, but still managed 3 goals and 3 assists in 30 games, while only Gustavo Hamer created more chances for the Yorkshire side. Crucially, at least in terms of whether he can make a career for himself at City, Pep has suggested the 21-year-old will get chances at City this season. Maybe around better players and coaching, McAtee can vastly improve from what we saw at Sheffield United should he keep given the chance by Pep Guardiola. He is a very talented player with lots of abilities and could well emerge as a very, very useful player for Manchester City this season. Manchester United, Toby Collier. Given what has happened with Kobbie Mainoo over the past 12 months, where Man United manager Erik ten Hag picks out a young player, there is genuine reason to get excited. He's now earned an opportunity, ten Hag said about Toby Collier after the 20-year-old played in a pre-season win over Rangers. Today he was in the starting 11. That's something, and we can see how he progresses. We saw last year with Garnacho and Mainoo what can happen, so the pathway is also open for other players, and Toby is there. Collier is expected to have a role in the first team this season rather than go out on loan, and there will be fans out there dreaming of a Collier-Mainoo midfield in years to come. He is a number 8 with great vision, always likes to get on the ball, and he covers an awful lot of ground. He is yet to make his senior competitive debut, but there is still plenty of precedent for youngsters succeeding at Old Trafford, so don't expect him to be waiting too much longer. Newcastle, Lewis Miley. Lewis Miley has long been tipped for the top by those who have followed Newcastle's underage teams in recent years, but nobody could have foreseen the immediate impact the 17-year-old made on the first team last season. Miley's brilliant brain he was exceptional during the Champions League group stages, most notably in the draw with PSG at the Parc des Princes. He is already Newcastle's youngest ever Premier League goal scorer, and after signing a new long-term contract, Miley should become the homegrown centrepiece of a Magpies project in years to come. Last season was probably his breakout year, but due to injury in the second half of the campaign, we never got to see him truly establish himself as a regular. He will be back from injury in September, and this season could be the year he becomes a regular starter in the midfield for Newcastle and really gets the Premier League noticing him. Nottingham Forest, Elliot Anderson. Another Scottish Newcastle Academy graduate, Elliot Anderson was on the Newcastle book since the age of 8 and went on to play 55 times for the Magpies, racking up 44 Premier League appearances at the age of just 21. A creative midfielder capable of playing as an 8 or as a number 10, Anderson made his Premier League debut against Arsenal in January 2021. A first loan move away from St James's Park came halfway through the following campaign, playing a hugely influential role in helping Bristol Rovers win promotion. That loan proved to be a catalyst for Anderson's progress, making 27 first-team appearances upon his return to Newcastle, as they qualify for the Champions League. He's got Premier League experience and also Champions League experience, but now at Forest he's going to be playing as a regular, as one of the key men for Nottingham. Alongside Gibbs White, Anderson could thrive as a more important piece to his team and make Newcastle rue selling him. Southampton, Yukiniru Sugawara. Southampton have signed the Japanese international right back this summer from AZ Alkmaar, and he could make an immediate impact for the Saints. The 24-year-old has been playing professionally since the age of 17, making his debut in the Japanese League in 2018. A year later, he made the move to Alkmaar, initially on loan, where he also gained experience playing for their second team. In his 5-year stay in the Netherlands, the defender amassed nearly 200 appearances for the first team, including a club record 53 games in European competitions. Sugawara, who has 13 caps for Japan, impressed massively in his last season with AZ, grabbing 11 goal contributions in just 30 games from right back in Eredivisie. He's a really underrated signing and could shock a few this season who don't know a lot about them. Tottenham, Mikey Moore. It's been a long time since one of Tottenham's academy products made a proper success of their career at the club, but there arguably hasn't been anyone to be as excited about for years as Mikey Moore. A technical and versatile attacking mid who likes to get on the ball and affect play, Moore never shies away from his responsibility and has the ability to decide games in front of goal. Still only 16, he made his Spurs debut at the end of last season as a substitute against Man City, and then shone this summer at the Under-17 Euros with England. Despite England's elimination at the quarter-finals, Moore ranked second at the tournament for goal involvements with 4 goals and an assist in just 4 games. He is capable of scoring special goals too, with his 4 goals coming from shots worth just 1 XG. He's been on pre-season tour with the first team, and Spurs fans will be hopeful Moore's exceptional talent mean he breaks through and they can enjoy another academy product into the first team. West Ham, George Urphy. 19-year-old George Urphy will hope for more first-team opportunities under Lopetegui after signing his first professional contract and making his debut last season. Urphy, who is 19, even scored with his first touch in West Ham's meeting with Luton on the 11th of May, netting 67 seconds after coming on as a substitute. first teenager to score in the Premier League for West Ham since Declan Rice in 2019, and the youngest since Junior Stanislas in 2009. His day was capped off perfectly by winning the Young Hammer of the Year award following that game. That award came after a strong season for the under-21s, in which he was involved in 19 goals in 21 games. Lopetegui may be more willing to give first-team opportunities to youngsters than Moyes, and Earthy will likely be the first person he calls upon from the academy. And finally we have Wolves. Leon Chiwome, one player looking to kick on this season after making an unexpected debut in the first half of the year is Wolves forward Leon Chiwome. The 18-year-old was pinpointed as the best young talent at Wolves in 2022, but only now he is starting to force his way into the senior squad. Following an injury crisis at the club last season, his Premier League debut came against Villa in March when he was just 18 years old. With that appearance, he became the third youngest player to play for Wolves in the Premier League. Gary O'Neill had earlier included Chiwome in their winter training camp after Christmas, but with the first teamers back from injury ahead of the new season, Chiwome is once again having to make do with the under-21s in pre-season. But he'll hope he can impress enough to get another first-team chance, and if there's another injury to one of their front men, Chiwome, now with some experience of Premier League football, could take his chance in the first team this season. So there we go, that is every Premier League club's breakout star for this season. If I had to pick one who I think will be the breakout star out of all of them, it's tough. I think Mikey Moore maybe has the most talent out of all of them, but I'm actually gonna say, this might surprise some people, I'm actually gonna say James McAtee. I think James McAtee is gonna get quite a few minutes this season for City, and it's actually gonna prove to be a very, very good player for them in their system. I think will